KeithAndrewNetWork. It is season 13, episode number 28. Today we sit down with Chris Stevens, who is an actor, producer, and CEO of his own company. We're going to have a great half hour. This episode will be shared on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and all social medias. Our goal is to reach 1,000 views. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment for me and our guests. And we're going to hear from our guests when we come back from this commercial break.
Conversations that actually connect. On the Keith Andrew Network, you can stream original series anywhere, anytime. New episodes drop every week, built by creators who get it. Join the network.
Everybody, I'm Chris Stevens, actor, producer, best-selling author, CEO of dreamdaddymedia, and I'm going to be on the Keith Andrew Network, Breaking Barriers. Make sure to watch.
We're back from the quick commercial break. Chris Stevens, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network.
Thank you so much, Keith. It's great to be on with you. Thanks for having me.
No, the honor's all mine. With that being said, it's PG-13. You can say anything you want, curse if you want to. You can ask me anything. I have no gloves on my sleeves. Here on the Keith Andrew Network, you're making a new friend. But one thing I do want to say, for people who want to know, what is the Keith Andrew Network? The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities, to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you want to be. To prove to them it's still amount to something. With that being said, you do not have to have disabilities to be on the show. By being on the show, you're supporting a talk show host with a disability, and in return, you get a half hour to share your message, your story, and this is your time. With that being said, the first subject we're going to talk about is icebreakers. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
You kind of said it before, but my name is Chris Stevens. I'm in the Atlanta area. I'm an actor, filmmaker, producer, recent best-selling author, and CEO of dreamdaddymedia. And I also want to say, Keith, if I may, when I was a kid, my teachers thought that I had a learning disability. So I would be pulled out of class and be put into special extra training classes and all that stuff. And they actually turned out that, a learning disability really isn't a disability, but it's just a different way of seeing things and of learning. And they actually found out that I was brilliant. So all that to say, Keith, you're brilliant.
I appreciate that. Now, for me, I took special ed classes. Maybe I'm a little scarred from it, but it's a learning experience. But there's some parts about I'm like, looking back at it, I wish I had my own personality now. Instead of I was known as the kid who sat against the wall, who was anti-social. Now, when I see an opportunity, I jump at it like a dog with a bone. I may not know what to do with it, but if I see an opportunity, you have to grab it and show it. I'm ready for the spotlight. Do you feel the same?
Absolutely.
It's like I'm a huge wrestling fan. Do you like wrestling?
Yeah, I do, and it's funny because I actually have met some of the wrestlers as well. Back in the day when I was a kid, I used to take the jobs that most kids didn't get. Well, most kids were working at McDonald's. I was, for instance, doing backstage security at the big arena where I lived. And actually, we had a lot of the WWF wrestlers. I've seen Hulk Hogan, back in the day, Bruce the Barber Beefcake, and Zeus and all those guys. I got to meet them, so it was kind of crazy.
No, let me ask you this, and we can talk about anything and everything. Do you think Hulk Hogan's a racist? Because I don't think he is, because he was in the ring and he put so many people over. I just like people like to throw shit against the wall and just say, oh, well, if this sounds good, we can slander him. It's like, what would he ever do to you? He may not be a great person, obviously, But if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon, we wouldn't have what we have today.
True to that. I can't say for sure that he was or not. I know there's stuff, and I've read things about him being a racist, and some of the things he said. He said, "I guess you have to take it with a grain of salt."
Yeah.
Um, I did meet him in person. He was not that. I don't know. He wasn't that great to me. Some of the other wrestlers I met have been a lot better, more cordial. He was not. I can't say to what the circumstances were then, but you know,
No, absolutely. And you can ask me anything from me, throw back at me. I have nothing to hide. But I agree with you. There are some, it's like the oxymoron. Never meet your heroes because you're going to be disappointed. Some of the wrestlers are really nice. I almost said to Kevin Nash because I went to WrestleCon and I was standing in line, and next thing you know, someone brushes past me, and I was gonna say, "What the fuck?" But then I realized who it was, and I'm like, "Oh, well, I give him a pass because I'm standing in line meeting him." But I met him and asked, he was nice. Would I meet him again? Probably not. But maybe I would. But uh, if you want to meet someone, it doesn't matter if you're having a shitty day. Put a face on, be up, smile. Hey, how are you? Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming here. And thank you for your time. It doesn't matter if you're going to have a like that. And I had interviewed people like that too. I had interviewed people who were like this, and I felt like saying, "Why are you on the show if you're not gonna take it seriously?" And that's I
right,
felt like that when he met some wrestlers. I had a bad incident when I met Terry Reynolds. Nothing horrible. I mean, I introduced myself and I said, "Hey Terry, very nice to meet you." We talked online. We talked about doing an interview for my show. I would love to have you on the show. Took a picture. Next thing you know, she has her hand on my back, pushing me. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, yeah, I'll talk to you later. Okay, right. I felt like saying, "Can I get a refund?" Because you just pretty much pushed me aside like a piece of crap.
yeah,
But you don't know what type of day the person's having. But there's a line and there's a limit to something you do and something you don't do. And putting your hands on someone and pushing them away, that's something you don't do. All you
right,
had to say was
yeah.
no thank you.
Right, right. And I mean, like you, Keith, I mean, being an actor, I've met a lot of different people. I was on I actually worked on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Chris Pratt, awesome guy all around, just treats you like he's just a regular guy. And then I've known, although I didn't work with him, worked with other actors that have worked with Dwayne Johnson and said that he was a total jerk on set, and so I mean, in my opinion, if when you're in the public eye, you need to you need to expect that people are going to want to talk to you, or befriend you, meet you, and you should act a certain way, be nice and cordial. I mean, you may be having a really bad day, and if that's the case, I mean, it's not an excuse to me. I was raised in a Christian household. I mean, you be nice to people. And even be honest, say, I'm sorry, like, thank you very much. I'm glad to meet you, but I've got some stuff going on I have to deal with, so I can't talk, or whatever. So
I agree. I was just thinking you were just talking about The Rock and how he comes out like, "Oh, goosebumps, goosebumps." And like, you sure that's goosebumps, not a bad case of hemorrhoids?
might be.
But here on the Keith Andrew Network, we like to have fun. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about your book.
Every journey begins with a single step and the courage to keep climbing. At Keith Andrew Network, real stories become moving animation, challenges turn to victories, and creativity paves new paths.
And welcome back to the Keith Andrew Network. The follow is brought to you by social media. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. With that being said, you are also an author of an upcoming book. It's on the screen as we're talking. What was the story about writing your book? And are you on social media?
Well, the story is, I mean, the book is called Warfare: The Chronicles of Key. It's a graphic novel, different kind of graphic novel, um, where I've never been much of a drawer. I'm not an illustrator, where most graphic novels are illustrated, with drawings. I actually went to school for animation, so I used what I know. So the book is actually illustrated using 3D art. So it's a different type of it. My book, I mean, I know how things are formatted and how graphic novels go. I've read enough myself, but I decided I just wanted to do my own thing and create something new. And so that's what I've done. I've had people tell me that it's like reading a video game, which is pretty cool. Um, as a matter of fact, it's actually out now. It was I issued it, I published it a couple of years ago, but it really didn't gain the traction that it needed. And through the help, I worked with a consultant. Shout out to Ayana Mills Ambrose, great woman. She's helped hundreds of authors become bestsellers, and thank God my book has recently become a bestseller on Amazon. I've actually got it right here. I know you have it on the screen, but I actually just ordered a new copy myself. Um, so yeah, and it's doing well, and I'm currently working on a lot of marketing strategies for the book, and it's great. So it's basically deals with this woman who's kind of spoiled. She's the daughter of this big tech mogul, and she finds her purpose. God leads her to become this warrior for God, fighting demons. And so that's basically what the book is. And it's actually part of a series. It's the first book in the series. It's funny because I just found out when I found out that it was a bestseller. The consultant I'm working with gave me a call, and I had just a minute before she called me had just finished writing the second book. Uh, so that was kind of like she said, "Oh, your book just reached number 2 on Amazon." I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I just finished writing the second book. It was kind of like, wow, things coming together.
No, I'm really
So that
happy
book
for
should
you.
be out in the next, probably in the summer of next year. And I'm just really excited about this book and this series. So
Have you thought about making an audiobook?
I don't know how that works with a graphic novel, though. But I guess people doing voices for the, I mean, definitely. I mean, it's right now it's currently an ebook and also, a paperback. Oh, and the other thing is that it's also going to be a movie. It'll be a movie series as well. Me being a filmmaker, I have a friend who owns a studio here in Atlanta, and so we've been in talks about getting that going. So we're kind of doing it in the pre-planning stages. So
Hey, if it's any opportunity, I would love to work with you.
absolutely.
Now, we hinted towards this before, but I want to go back. You are a producer. What were some of your favorite films that you were producing? And you mentioned you were part of the Guardians and you were backstage at a couple of wrestling events. So the first question I want to ask you, what was it like working backstage at those professional wrestling events? And what was it like meeting Chris Pratt?
Um, it was surreal, back when I worked at the arena, I worked at the Worcester Centrum. This is in Massachusetts. We've had a lot of different events, not just wrestling. They had the Club MTV tour. I've met Paula Abdul at that one, and a bunch of people at different ones. They had Metallica there, a lot of different people. But yeah, it was kind of surreal, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, I was in high school. I was a teenager, and like I said before, my friends are, they're working at McDonald's flipping burgers, and I'm meeting all these high profile people. It was cool. I mean, I still remember one particular time when they had the wrestling there, and Brutus, the beefcake barber, came out, and he came out of the shower after the show and was completely naked. He's like, "Hey." He was a fun guy. So yeah, and Chris Pratt, like I said before, is awesome. I worked on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I worked on it for about 3 months. That was a really cool gig to have. 2 hours in a makeup chair every day. Every day I was one of the alien henchmen and doing all the makeup and all that stuff. But whenever we were getting ready to go on stage, he's coming by. And if anybody that's ever been on a film set indoors on a sound stage, the the space between the staging area where you're shooting and then the kind of behind the scenes stuff that is very narrow. And so there's a lot of cables and a lot of stuff you're stepping over, trying to get through. And so I just remember walking through there, getting ready to go to set. Chris Pratt's coming the other way. He's kind of in our way, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, excuse me," and he backs out of the way, as opposed to, "Oh, I'm Chris Pratt, I'm the big star. You move out of my way." He moved out of our way, and that was pretty cool. So,
Yeah, I agree with you. When you're a big name, it's like what my hero, Bret the Hit My Heart, said. Bret Hart said, it doesn't matter if you have millions of fans or you have that one fan. As long as you make a good impression on that person, that's all that really matters. And it's really hard to find good people. Adam Sandler's a good, what I heard, what I was told, he was a good person. Obviously, what you were saying, Chris Pratt's a good person. It's just when you have your head way up somebody's ass, you obviously know well what they had for breakfast. But it's like let me explain what the expression was. There's a promo of X-Pac. Sean Maltman got fired from WCW. So the next
yeah.
night he was on Monday Night Raw, and he cut this whole big promo, and he said, "Eric Bischoff, you better not stop short, because if you do, your head's gonna go way up Hulk Hogan's ass, and you're gonna know what he had for breakfast." But it's kind of like it doesn't matter. Here's another example. Bruce Willis. I used to like Bruce Willis till the story came out where a kid came over to him and said, "Hey, Mr. Willis, we're nice to meet you. Can I get your autograph?" And he pushes the kid, 10-year-old kid, out of the way and said, "I don't have time for you." You and me, we're in this, excuse the pun, we're in the same boat. We are all starting at the same position, at the bottom, and we're working our way up. You're not better than me. I'm sure as hell not better than you. I can't act my way out of a wet paper bag, so you can probably do laps around me, not kissing your ass or anything. But we all climb that ladder, the proverbial glass and grab the brass ring. The point is, we're all in this together. It's not a competition. In a way, it is, but it doesn't mean you're a better person. With that being said, you're going to meet the same people going up as you are coming back down. So don't burn any bridges. The
Exactly.
problem is, like Will Smith, even though a lot of people say that was gimmicked, it was
Mhm.
predetermined, but it was all scripted.
Mhm.
Will Smith and Bruce Willis and whoever, just because you're a household name, you have to realize if it wasn't for us, the fans, you wouldn't be where you are today. So you have to be a little more grateful. Do you agree or disagree?
I totally agree, Keith. As you mentioned before, you're gonna the same people that you see going up, you're gonna see them coming back down. And I think that, as I said before, if you're when you're a household name, when you're in the public eye, you really need to keep your image up because those are the people that depend on you. And I think you should be, I mean, not that you're doing it for that sole purpose, that you're being nice just so that people will watch your movies or buy your music or whatever. Um, but just being kind is a basic human thing, and every person deserves respect.
I agree with you. Next one I want to talk to you about is a two-part subject I'm going to do. Is how did you feel about breaking that glass ceiling, number one? What was that moment when you felt like you broke the glass ceiling? And how has COVID impacted your life? Do you see things differently before and after COVID?
I don't know that I've actually even broken the glass ceiling yet, but still working towards that. But I definitely see some things in my life. I mean, this book is great, is beyond what I can think of now, and and the way it's being received. I'm very grateful for that. Um, and yeah, COVID, I think it did. It did. I mean, it changed a lot of people's lives, and it changed my life as well. I actually wrote this book during COVID. It gave me the time and the freedom to be able to do more of what I wanted to do, and so this book is a product of that. It just gave me more time. I mean, it was an awful time too. A lot of people died, and I'm sorry for that. But um, yeah, and it made me take stock of what's really important. And as far as a lot of people do, I heard a lot of people actually quit their jobs during COVID because they realized that, what am I doing? I'm not. I'm just merely existing, and this doesn't fulfill me, and I need to find my purpose, and all that. So
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that, but I do want to say one thing. Here on the Keith Andrew Network, we are for people being vaccinated. Doesn't matter if it's a COVID shot, flu shot, everyone should be vaccinated because you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting your fellow neighbor and protecting people around you. You're doing the right thing. So don't be an asshole and be an anti-vaxxer. Now, with that being said, I'm probably gonna lose some viewers on that, but hey, freedom of speech.
yeah, that's right.
But you said something I wanted to ask you, mention, a new subject I want to bring up. You going through life, going through emotions and everything. So the new subject I want to talk to you about is time. A lot of people like to say, well, it is true in a way. Time is unlimited. You have so much time in the world. And people say, well, if I had a time machine, I could rewind time. That's true to an extent, but time will always be moving. I'll give you an example. It's 12:26 right now. Now, if you went back 10 to 20 years ago, it's still that time period. So you can't really go back in time because time is always moving. But let me ask you, with everything that you have experienced in your life, do you feel that time is, I'm gonna butcher the freaking word, limitless, or do you think time is always gonna be moving for you?
Well, time, I mean, I think all of us have a limited amount of time to some, I mean, time is always going to be time in general, but each one of us, like, we never know when our time is up. And so we need to make the most of it. I mean, some people, I mean, that's why I thank God every morning. Somebody didn't wake up this morning and their time was up last night. You know, I have time today. I'm on with I'm on with Keith Andrew, the Keith Andrew Network, breaking barriers. How great is that? But somebody didn't have that opportunity this morning. So I'm always trying to be conscious of that and just make the most of it. That's why I'm always working towards what I feel my purpose is. And my wife always gets on me sometimes. I mean, she knows that I stay up late. I stay up late at night because I'm always working. I got to get this done. I've got to get this done. But because I'm conscious of time.
Oh, if you want, we can do a double interview. She's smart and welcome to be on the show.
Yeah. Oh, she's a great person to talk to. She's got a children's book that's going to be coming out soon, actually.
Well, I would love to talk to her.
Yeah.
Now, when I mentioned time, there's a video I saw on TikTok about wisdom or one of those theological things. I'm not a bust with the freaking word. You know what the word I'm talking about. It's like it's philosophical. It's supposed to make you think. But
Philosophical.
yes,
Philosophical.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, for someone who's supposed to be a talk show host, I'm doing a real butchered job of
Hey,
that,
sorry.
right? But there's one about time, and it's really interesting. I'm like, why not turn that into a subject? So over time, I will come up with a easier way to pronounce that. But let me ask you, wrapping up the show, AI. Now, a
Mm.
lot of people are blown this out of proportion. A lot of people, like myself and my brother, who would say it's really not that big of a deal. For someone who's an actor, producer, and owner of your own company, how do you feel about AI impacting the industry?
I kind of feel two ways about it. First of all, I mean, it's funny because when people started talking about AI, at first I'm like, oh well, it's taking over people's jobs in the factory. It might take over. But the day you see AI, write a movie script or acting in a movie, that's never going to happen. And here we are. They just had double strike, the SAG-AFTRA strike and the writer's strike, and big portion of that was AI, because a film company can reproduce and make it look just like just like Will Smith or whatever big name actor, Tom Cruise, and then they don't get paid for it. And I think that's not fair. So there needs to be some restrictions as far as that. At the same time, it's also a tool because it's opening up this industry to people that may not otherwise, have the money to go to school for it or whatever. They can sit in a month-long class and learn AI filmmaking and be able to make a really nice quality film, because I think this one thing I think is that everybody has a story inside of them. And some people just might not know how to get that out. And I think that AI is a tool helping that as well. And so I've started embracing it a bit in some of my things. I still think I'm a better writer. I'm sorry. I've been writing since I was 9 years old, writing stories. I think that whatever it gives me, I've fooled around with it and say, okay, what can you give me for like this storyline? And it's just not as good as what I come up with. But I still, get, I'll embellish or something like that and see what it gives me. And it's still a great tool. And I think overall that people shouldn't be scared of AI. If anything, and I've heard this before as well, that it's not going to really be taking over people's jobs, because the people are still gonna have to be over AI. So you need to learn the tools, or you might be out of a job because you don't know AI. So
No, absolutely. And they're telling people take classes about AI. And I'm guilty of it because I do use AI. I make funny videos because on my network I do serious interviews like this. We like to have fun. But for the younger audiences who like Dumbo, Jumble Book, or Human Pyramids or whatever, I cater to everyone from the ages of 6 to, I don't know, 60, because I'm showing you the Keith Andrew Network has so many different avenues and videos, and we cater to different audiences of different ages. It's like, hey, if you don't like talk show hosts with disability, we do voiceovers. If you don't like voiceovers, we do this. And the same thing with your company. And you have to cater to everyone, because if you cater to one niche, it's kind of like you kind of isolate yourself. So you have to be open to different ideas.
mhm.
But with that being said, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but I want you to be brutally honest. When I
Yes.
first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? And after being a guest, how do you feel now?
When you first told me about it, I mean, I do my research whenever I talk to somebody. I mean, I'm very busy. As you know, we had to push this we had to push this interview off a couple of times already because I had so much things coming on. I had a TV show that I was working on that decided to push the date up to the day we were supposed to do this. And I'm like, oh, great. So anyway, but when you first approached me about it and I did my research on your show, and I just the way you explained it, I was like, wow, that's great. I think you're doing a great thing and a great service. Other people that may have learning disabilities can see that they can be something as well. And so I was excited to do it. And after being on the show, I'm glad I did it. You're a great host.
No, I appreciate it. And while I want to talk about the big elephant in the room, we'll give you an extra 2 minutes because I try to keep the episode 30 minutes. And I don't want Zoom to kick us off too. I don't pay for Zoom because
Yeah,
they keep 40 minutes, and like if you pay for it, if you don't really work with it, blah 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 blah, you're wasting money.
right, right.
But I wanted, actually, I lost my train of thought what I was going to ask you. Actually, don't worry about it. We can definitely talk about it off the air. I hate that. You ever notice when you go to say something and you're like, it's so important. You go to say, I'm like, what the hell was I even going to say?
Like, happens all the time.
Wrapping up, how can our fans and listeners get in touch with you? Obviously you're on LinkedIn, Oh, that's what I was going to talk. Well, social media real fast. How can your fans and listeners get in touch with you? You're on LinkedIn. Are you on Instagram or any other social
I'm on
medias?
Instagram. It's Chris Stevens Showbiz, all one word. On Instagram. I've also at Chris Stevens Dream Daddy Media on Facebook, and also my website www.dreamdaddymedia.com.
And my last question I was going to say to you before I had a brain fart. A lot of people give me a hard time about this, but I want your honest opinion because I have the heart and passion to do this to the day I die. And so I turn this into a real job for myself. Do you or do you not agree that I'm doing a good thing when I offer my services and say I charge $32 or $42? Because and this is what you get. You're hiring me to interview you, number one. You get a professional interview. I will write an article about you. You get a recommendation. And it's pretty much you're supporting someone with disabilities doing what they love. So you're getting something, I'm getting something out of it. But do you agree or disagree that as soon as I tell someone I charge for my services, that's a red flag? Your honest opinion.
For some people, maybe it is. For me, it's not. I think it's brilliant. I think what you're doing is brilliant. It's a great idea, and it may give other people the same idea as well to, see that you can do what you love and find a way. That's what they say: find what you're passionate about and find a way to make a living at it. And you've done that, so bravo to you.
I appreciate that. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but a lot of people that I approach are like, oh, you're doing a great thing. And it's like, well, I do this as work. Here's a tiny fee. Well, the hell with you. I don't want nothing to do with you. I'm like, and because people told me over the years, oh, you're doing this. How long does it take you? 2 hours of your time. Oh, well, you have the heart and passion. You should turn it into a real job. People should be paying you to have you interview them. Okay, thank you. I took your words of wisdom. And now as soon as I took your words of wisdom, you're a con artist. You're taking advantage. Can you tell me it's not McDonald's, it's not have it your way. You tell me to do something, I do it, but people are never happy. With everything that you accomplish in your life, being an actor, a producer, an owner, do you feel like, in expressing this, if you try to please everyone, you're setting yourself up for failure?
I agree with that because you're always going to have the naysayers, the people that the haters. As a matter of fact, if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. So,
oh, I have plenty of that. But we can definitely talk off the air. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. You and your wife are more than welcome to be on the show anytime. I'm looking forward to part 2. And until we meet again, I catch you later. Thank you and a happy holidays.
You too.